So we'll talk about how contributing to Kubernetes has evolved over the past 10 years and what lies ahead in the next 10 years. We will take you through a journey of how a couple of our contributors have grown through the initiatives done by SIG ContribEx. And this is how we will talk about. So we'll first talk about what we do, and then we'll talk. Actually, the contributors themselves will talk about how those initiatives help them grow and become a maintainer in the community. So this is also like pigging back to the keynote panel we did in the morning to show people. We also had a session from an etcd maintainer. We also had a session from continuity maintainer and a couple of other sessions where those contributors talked about how they became a maintainer. And we have two of them here as well, other than the Kubernetes people who are in front of you. So let's go on. But before that, the session is covered by the CNCF Code of Conduct. Doesn't, like you can go through all of it, but essentially it boils down to like, please be kind and respectful to everyone and treat others how you would want to be treated. Having said that, I'm Nabarun. I'm one of the co-chairs of SIG ContribEx.
And I'm Priyanka Saggu. I'm one of the technical leads for SIG Contributor. We have two more leads as well who are not joining us today, but I'll just quickly mention them. Kaslin is also another chair, Kaslin Fields, and Madhav Chivrajani is another technical lead for SIG Contributor. And very quickly, this is a photo of the Kubernetes Contributor Summit. The last edition of Kubernetes Contributor Summit that happened almost a month back. This happened in North America. We did not add one. We just had our own very edition of KCS, which now is rebranded as Maintainer Summit on 10th of December. And we also took a photo. It was as crowded as this one. So let's talk about what does SIG ContribEx actually do. What we do is, this is from our charter, I believe, right? We help the Kubernetes community in developing and sustaining a healthy community of contributors because it is critical to scaling the project and growing the ecosystem, and we try our best. It is an ongoing task. We always have to keep improving, keep doing more and more, and keep taking feedback from the community, and that is what we do on a day-to-day basis as part of the SIG ContribEx. And not just the leads, everyone who is involved in SIG ContribEx. But how do we do that? We have a lot of sub-projects within SIG ContribEx, which basically is we have divided all of our responsibilities, everything that falls under SIG ContribEx is taken care by each of this sub-project. And we have a lot for today, so I will briefly breeze through these sub-projects. We have community management, contributor documentation, dev stats, and election. The first three is around community. You can think of everything around community we take care of, or we, SIG ContribEx take care of those tasks as part of these sub-projects. Dev stats is another tool that we maintain or help maintain. That is basically maintaining statistics of all the contributors we have. We have a sub-project called elections. That is a recent project, not so recent, but it's fairly a new sub-project, and that is a sub-project where we help running elections like steering committee election that just happened few months back, and now we are also working on or shepherding the new set of elections for Code of Conduct Committee. So this work is also taken care by SIG ContribEx. We have events. You saw the photo, KCS, Kubernetes Contributor Summit, North America one. We, as part of SIG ContribEx, and a lot of people here, Arvind, Sandeep, and many other in the audience, participate and help us run those programs as part of the event sub-project. GitHub management is another one. Kubernetes project is a huge project. This is the second largest project on GitHub. And so there is a lot of work that revolves around GitHub, and we take care of those responsibilities as part of the GitHub management sub-project. And finally, last three, mentoring. mentoring is, there are a lot of mentoring opportunities. So people can get started as regular contributors. You come and you get started, but we also have structured programs. Whenever a SIG wants to, let's say, grow a particular area of their SIG, they want to help increase the number of reviewers or maintainers. So SIG ContribEx can help them run those structured programs. That is overseen by the mentoring sub-project. Slack infrastructure. Slack infra is another sub-project where we maintain the Kubernetes Slack infrastructure or do all the day-to-day operation. All of that is taken care by the Slack infra sub-project. And finally, contributor comms. We are going to hear about it a lot during our amazing contributors journey, so I'll leave it to that. And yeah, that is what SIG ContribEx does. And with all those sub-projects, we try to do our day-to-day responsibilities. Let's listen now to Sandeep and Arvind about their own journey, how they got started, and how they got benefited from various initiatives that we have in the SIG ContribEx group. Over to you, Sandeep.
Thank you for coming to this talk. I'm excited to share how I got started, how I got stuck, and then how I found a way around it. So I'm just going to share in short summary of my journey in the CNCF and especially in the SIG ContribEx. Okay, so it all began with a tweet. I was traveling in a bus and I happened to see a tweet from Divya Mohan. She was in the keynote today, if you listen to her. So the tweet was about CNCF. I'll be very honest, in spite of more than 15 years of experience, I did not know what is CNCF and what is the SIG. I did not know that. So then I looked up something, and then Kunal's video appeared, where Kunal was interviewing Priyanka Sharma, who is the director of CNCF. So in the video, there was a link to the scholarship. And so that was the last day to apply for the scholarship for KubeCon Detroit. I reached home and I listed all my community contributions. So I was very active in the AWS community. So I listed my community contributions and I just forgot about it because I thought it would be some random scholarship that I'm never going to get, but I just applied and forgot. 1 month later, I had an approval email and it took a long time to believe it. And then I found myself in Detroit. And it was very overwhelming. I wanted to run away from thousands and thousands of people who are all masked up. Now I have a hearing impairment. I rely entirely on lip reading, and you are wearing a mask. I cannot see your lips. I cannot follow a word of what you are speaking. And I got tired of using my captioning app to follow what everyone is speaking. And from thousands of people, not knowing anyone in a foreign country was overwhelming. I just wanted to run away, and I decided maybe I'd never again come back to KubeCon. I came back to India, and then I wanted to start contributing. So this is the biggest hurdle that we face. Okay, what we think is open source is free. That is correct, it is free. But just because it is free, it does not mean it is bad quality. It is the second biggest project in the world. So you just can't just come and say, I'm going to give 15 minutes, I am a very good Go programmer, let me get started. It doesn't work like that. All of you are professionals, okay? You work in a company, okay? You have your project. Can you just jump to any other project in your company? How do you jump to a project? You first go through the project documents, the project architecture, you get an access to a host of things, you understand what is the source control system, how to do a commit, PR, and everything. The same thing applies here. So this thing takes time. If you come with a 15 or 30 minutes mindset, it's not going to help you too much, and you just cannot get started just because you are a very wonderful Golang programmer. So that was the hurdle I faced. I wanted to start contributing, but I could not because I was the lone member in my team in India, and so I had a lot of professional responsibility. So the more I tried to get started, the more I failed, and then I gave up. But the one good thing I did was I kept my community contributions active. I used to speak at my local meetups, at my virtual meetups. I was very passionate about Elasticsearch, and I won the Elasticsearch Bronze Contributor. So using that, I again applied for the scholarship in Chicago. I was 100% sure of rejection because usually they don't give out that much. But luckily, I got accepted. And when I was sitting in the keynote, so why should you come to KubeCon? There is one thing you cannot get is you can see all of our recordings in the YouTube. But the one thing is that when you see a speaker face to face, there is a different energy that comes. And the networking is the most important part. And I was sitting in the keynote, and next to me was Catherine. And she saw me reading the captions, and she was like, "Are you deaf or hard of hearing?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Wow, I just have to find a hard of hearing working group. I'm looking for volunteers, and I couldn't find a better one than you." And so, far away in a foreign country, I found a very familiar group. We bonded together, and then this is the photo we have in Chicago. So slowly, my fear of feeling alone in a conference slowly started fading away. But still, it was an empty feeling. Like, I have not missed a single meeting of the deaf and hard of hearing working group in the last 1 year. Not a single. And yet, I felt empty. Because you see, he's a maintainer, she's a wonderful contributor, and he's just a starter. So everyone is contributing. I also wanted to do much more than just be a member of the group. And so, at the next KubeCon Madhu, he has been a wonderful mentor to me, and he asked me to try out the comms part. And I was like, why would I contribute to comms? I want to do code contribution. Comms is, I mean, small people do it, not intelligent. I was horribly wrong. So then, based on Madhu's suggestion, I attended the first comms meeting, and the comms meeting happens on Friday evening IST. So I attended, and my co-chairs, Kathleen and Chris, they were very wonderful. They welcomed me, made sure that the captions are working. And so, after that, every Friday evening, I had a battle. The right side of my mind was say, attended. The left side would say, Friday evening is for fun. Just skip it, man, just skip it. It's just a calm, skip it. But I did not skip it, not a single meeting. So this is the most important thing when you want to get started. You have to stick your butt in any single SIG. You may not understand anything, and I still don't understand more than 90%. But whatever little you understand, just try to crack it. So make sure whichever SIG you are, stick to that. Okay. And so the one that you see here, so comms does a lot of things. And now the one thing about comms is most of the SIGs meet once in a month or twice in a month. Comms, it meets every Friday. And I hated it. Why do you meet every Friday? Because it's so important. It's the central part of everything. The blog, the social media, the spotlight, everything comes to comms. And so after being in comms for a couple of months, Carsten asked me if I wanted to be a KCS comms shadow. Okay? So here, I think, okay, I forgot something. So when I started attending those meetings, Priyanka and Nabarun, they worked to launch an IST-friendly meeting. So we meet every alternate Wednesday. So please, if you want to join SIG Contributor Experience, this is one of the best ways to get started because the meeting happens on Wednesday afternoon in an IST-friendly time. So attending both of these meetings, my co-chair Kathleen asked me if I wanted to be a comms shadow. So I did not even know what it means to be a comms shadow, but I just signed up for it. And that was the most golden phase of the last 6 months. It was a hell lot of work, writing 50+ comms and interacting with a lot of people, but it gave an idea of how to run a Kubernetes contributor summit, which has now become a maintainer summit. And got the chance to interact with so many people in the ecosystem. You get to know the whole full flow. And I have to thank my co-shadow. Okay, so when you are walking along the path, walking alone is no fun. And he was a wonderful shadow, and we used to review each other communications, which really helped. And yes, so when I started contributing, I applied for an org membership. Okay, so in org membership, you need to have 2 sponsors. Thankfully, I got 6 sponsors who are willing. So when you start contributing, when you are consistent in something, people come and appreciate you even without you asking them. And then thanks to the contributions in the Kubernetes Contributor Summit, okay, I got an applause, and then this was quite unexpected. Both Priyanka and I got the Top Food Carrywater Award for working for a large number of contributions. So, summing up, I would say the non-code contributions don't matter. When you start doing that, you don't have to invest actually in a lot of time, and you get to understand how the ecosystem works, what is SIG that. Because when you try to write a spotlight article, you have to go and interview the leads of that special interest group. So you have to do your research, then you interview them, so you build a network, you build a relationship. And also, you understand what is SIG that. So it's a wonderful way to begin your journey. And the CNC of principles is be kind and be respectful. I would say be humble. Open source contributions teaches you to be humble. You are an experienced person of more than a decade. You have a fresher guy who is much more intelligent than you, much more better than you in SIG testing or something like Sriram. He is a wonderful contributor. So it teaches you to be humble, to sit with him, to learn from him. And this humility, it makes you lifelong friends. And as I said, you need to stick your butt. Consistency, consistency, consistency. Everyone asks how you find the correct stick. I mean, there is no sure short way, but you attend a couple of meetings until you find your calling. It takes some trial and error to find it. And then the fourth point, okay, you try it at your own risk. Once you start contributing to the community, you will bond so well that there will come a time when you will tell your manager or your colleague that you need to skip a meeting because of a conflict, and you are actually attending a SIG ContribEx meeting. So don't try it at your own risk. And lastly, at the end of the day, do this contribution for your own happiness. Okay, this isn't about winning awards, okay? It's just about feeling happy from within. If you don't feel happy from within, then nothing matters. So that's it. Thank you.
It's on. Not on?
Hello, hello. Thank you so much, Sandeep. My name is Arvind. I'm currently a student, and I would just like to talk today about how I started contributing, how my journey was. I was in your foots once. I was watching videos on YouTube about how to get started contributing to the project. How do I start open source contributions? I had admired a lot of people you see here: Priyanka, Nabarun, Sandeep, Sriram, plus a lot of other students. And now that I got a chance to talk here, I'd just like to share my journey and the learnings that I got along the way, in the hopes that you can take something out of it, which I really hope you can. This is what I'm going to talk about. My story, I've split it into 2 parts, and you will know why. Then how I started my first contribution, my Kubernetes Contributor Summit journey to becoming an org member, and the learnings and challenges. Introduction, because it is mandatory. My name is Arvind Parekh. In the Kubernetes community, I'm currently the blogging shadow under Frederico. I'm also the social media shadow under Caslin Fields. I was the comm shadow for Contributors Summit North America that happened recently in Salt Lake City. Yeah, that is about me and what made me get involved with the project and contribute. So, if you were here yesterday on day 1, you might have listened to Rajas asking to Bob during the keynote about what is his best tip for contributing to the project, right? And Bob said one very important thing, which is intent. So what is your intent about contributing to Kubernetes or open source? I think that is one question we should ask before getting to the actual step of contributing. And this was true for my case as well. When I first started contributing, Kathleen Fields actually asked me this particular thing. This is a message from a DM, that actually what brings you to Kubernetes? Like, are you looking to improve resume or get involved in a hot area? And the last phrase is very important, which is no reason is less valid than the other, right? And I actually spent a good amount of time, like 20, 30 minutes after I received this text, thinking what is my real intent of getting involved in this community. And after thinking, I wrote a huge paragraph to Kathleen explaining, hey, this is my intent, this is why I'm here. And I think that really helped me, and I'll tell why. There could be many reasons to contribute, right? If you are an experienced developer, and you want to switch to DevOps, your job would require it. You network in the community, you know open source involves fun people and you like working with fun people. Your reason could be anything, right? As Kathleen said, no reason is less valid than the other. So first step would be, I think carefully about why you want to contribute, set your intent, and that really helps. I've been talking a lot about contributor contributions, but what exactly is a contribution, right? Could I hear a quick shout about from any of you what you think is a contribution? Anything, just a quick shout. Yeah, correct. Any other? Could be anything. What? Exactly. So any work that you do to support the open source Kubernetes project or any open source project is a contribution, right? You might think contributions could be like fixing a typo in the documentation or adding a new feature or code contributions or something, but I would like to say that if you are taking notes, even notes during a community meeting, that counts as a contribution. If you are asking a question on Slack, that is a contribution as well. If you are commenting on a KEP, which is a Kubernetes enhancement proposal that Priyanka talked about yesterday, if you are adding your user stories to a CAP, that is a contribution. If you are writing a blog post that helps the project, that is a contribution. So in short, any work that you do to support the open source project is a contribution, and the entire community is really grateful for it. So I'll start with my story, the contribution journey, and it is split in two parts. So the first part is my first ever PR experience. I saw this issue on the Kubernetes website. I wanted to get started contributing. And I made my first PR, which was changing the diagram in the documentation. And I thought it would be just remaking one simple diagram and the PR would be merged, but I was so wrong. The PR ended up receiving 23 comments. Most of them were reviews. And the entire while I was like moving back and forth between reviews, making the diagram multiple times, changing colors in the diagram because it was not matching with the documentation style guide. I had made irrelevant changes to different parts in the code base, which I had to fix. I learned how to rebase, merge, and like work with Git in a rapidly changing code base. It was all fun. It was very, I learned a lot, but I felt very overwhelmed and left contributing for almost 7 months. After that PR, I literally didn't open Kubernetes for another 7 months because it was a lot. Coming to the second part, which is starting out afresh. And I would like to highlight back my point about intent. I think the reason I started out again because I had this intent of contributing to Kubernetes, which was like pretty fixed for me. So on a fine Friday, random Friday, this was me. I think Nabarun also does that sometimes. This was me on a random Friday evening. I was just like bored. And I get this notification immediately on my phone that the ContribEx weekly Friday meeting is happening in 1 hour. I felt a lot of imposter syndrome. I was like, okay, should I attend it? Should I not? But I embraced that entropy and ended up attending it, and it was the best decision. This was me during the call. I was like, what are these people talking about? I have no idea. I sat through it for 1 entire hour. This was me after the call. I'm a bit overwhelmed. I'm still processing it all. I have no idea what just happened. And learnings, because learnings are important. If you do end up joining your first call, which I really hope that you do after this conversation, you won't understand, and that is in most cases, you won't understand 80% of what is happening. And that is okay. That is how it should be. Like, that's normal. Second point is observe before you dive in. So I think for the first couple of meetings, like 2 or 3 meetings, what I did was, and what I would say everyone does, is like just sit back for 1 hour, listen to what is being talked about, what are these people talking about, what the project is about, which particular area comes up frequently in the meetings, and you will start getting the hang of it. And after you join your initial few meetings consistently, the people in the meeting would start reaching out to you naturally, saying, hey, there's an opportunity to contribute. Do you want to contribute? And you might feel unsure that, oh, I'm just, I have attended 2 or 3 meetings. Should I take this up? And please say yes to the opportunities, even if you're unsure, because in the Kubernetes project, help is always available, always. Just the willingness to do the work is required. This is just a screenshot of my conversation with Chris Short after my first meeting, and I would just like to highlight one particular point, which is said that patience, that's one thing you're gonna need in the Kubernetes project, and it has been so true for me. My first contribution after starting out afresh, this is just a screenshot of me reaching out to another SIG saying, hey, I want to write a spotlight blog on your SIG. And you might ask, what are spotlight blogs, right? So I'd like to talk about that because it is such a cool area to get started. So SIG spotlight blogs. It is an opportunity under the comms SIG ContribEx subproject, comms subproject, which is like you write a blog about another SIG in the project, you interview a member from that SIG, and you write your blog about your experiences with the SIG, saying what is being done in the SIG, what good areas are there to contribute in that SIG, and what are the future directions for the SIG. And that blogs get published on the kubernetes.io or the kubernetes.dev websites. This is the typical journey of Spotlight blogs, but for time's sake, I guess we can, I'll just like to breeze through it. There's a 5-step process. You ask the SIG if they have the bandwidth. You reach out to the designated person. You can interview them, and then you write a blog about their experiences. We'll link these slides to the website so you have access to this. This is the screenshot of my first Spotlight blog, which I did on the scheduling special interest group. I talked with Kensei Nakada from the project. And here's the link if you would like to go through it later. Learnings again, because learnings are important. So what did I learn from my first Spotlight experience? I learned how to efficiently reach out and to people and groups within the Kubernetes community. I got to explore an entirely new area in the Kubernetes community, a SIG or a working group. And I think that is really important when you get started contributing, right? So you get to explore and go deep into a particular area in the Kubernetes community. I learned markdowning. Markdowning is important in open source, I would say. And I understood how to write user-focused content. I was writing blogs for my personal website, but when I was doing Spotlight blogs, I learned how to think from a user's perspective, how they would read the blog and how I should structure it. And since Spotlight blogs is a very good way to get involved, I'd like to talk about the opportunity to get involved writing Spotlight blogs. You can go through a list of SIGs that have already been spotlighted on the Kubernetes website, which is a list. The list is here. And if you find a SIG in the list which has not been covered yet, or has been covered over like 2 years ago, so it has maybe gotten somewhat outdated, you can please reach out to us and express your interest in doing a spotlight. The way to reach out is in the SIG ContribEx comms on Slack, which is slack.kh.io. And another way is join us in our weekly meetings every Friday. And remember, this is a very big enough friendly area to get involved in and is such a great way to get started. The next step in my journey is the Kubernetes Contributor Summit, which Sandeep was a part of. And I actually also got this opportunity because I messaged Keslin after my first ever call, and I expressed my intent. I told you about the long paragraph that I wrote, and one point was, I want to get involved more within the community. And she said, whenever the Contributor Summit comes up, we should try to get you involved there. And I got that opportunity because of that. This is just a screenshot of me expressing my interest when the staffing for the Contributor Summit came up. How was my experience with the Contributor Summit? I sent around 12 plus comms. I reviewed 30 plus comms. We and Sandeep both provided team updates in the regular planning meetings and then relayed back the information to our team. But with all the experiences came failures as well for me. I failed at some points in the Contributor Summit. I made some mistakes, which I'd like to talk about. The first one is I sent an email with incorrect KubeCon city name. So the subject line was supposed to be Kubernetes Contributor Summit North America in Salt Lake City, but I ended up writing Kubernetes Contributor Summit happening in Chicago. And immediately I got 2 notifications on my phone saying, hey, did you mean Salt Lake City? I was like, yeah. Oh no, I need to fix that. And what I learned is it is not enough to double check. Please always triple check and make sure to review the subject line as well. Second failure I did was I messed up formatting in an email. Some parts of the email were formatted in 11 point size, some were in 12, some were italic, some were not. And the learning here is always make sure to triple check. Others were my failures as well. But nobody likes talking about the failures more, so I would skip. Learnings. What did I learn through this experience? I got introduced and connected to a lot of people. The people that you see here, I got connected to them through this experience. The second learning that I would really like to highlight is everyone makes mistakes. This exact sentence is from Kesslin Fields saying, embrace mistakes. Making mistakes is human. Handling them is what makes you senior. And this is exactly what she said after I made these failures. And it is true. I failed and I immediately fixed that up, and that is what we do in the community, right? Everyone fails, but we fix it up. Document your mistakes. You shouldn't make the same one twice. And the ultimate learning is people are so willing to help you if you show up and are willing to do the work. And these are like the final learnings that I would really like to highlight is if you are thinking of getting started in the Kubernetes community, please join meetings. Joining meetings is the best way to get started and get contributing. This has been so true in my case because I have joined every single ContribEx meeting ever since that random Friday. And I've really enjoyed it. The meetings are so fun. You should definitely, please try it once if you join. Consistency is really greater than persistency. If I had stuck with my first PR, my first ever PR, and had not left for 7 months, I'd be 7 months ahead, of course. So please consistently join the meetings, keep contributing, even if it is small, but keep showing up regularly. Review PRs actively. The best way to get to know about a project you really like, be it, let's take the example of scheduling, right? If you are interested in scheduling in the Kubernetes community, review the PRs in the scheduling SIG actively. You would get to know what changes are happening in that SIG, what they are actively working on. And last thing is pay it forward. This is pretty famous in our Kubernetes community that we should always pay what we get forward. I'm here because someone paid it forward. I would really like to shout out Avinesh's name, because he was the one that pushed me to get started with the community, because he was already doing awesome work in the community. And he paid it forward to me, and now I'm doing the same thing, which I really hope you take it forward. Work and you shall receive. Receive what? More work. No, I'm just kidding. More work as well, but I received the contributor award at the Thank you. Kubernetes Contributor Summit for all the contributions in the KCS and SIG ContribEx teams. I got the org membership. We do require 2 sponsors, as Sandeep said, but Priyanka, Nabarun, Krish, Kaslin, all wanted to sponsor me, which is very true, that work and you shall receive, right? And at the end, I just want to highlight this saying from Chris, which is patience. That's one thing you're gonna need. Yeah. This is just a QR code for the contributor guide. If you are unsure about how to get started contributing, this QR links to our Kubernetes contributor guide, if you'd like to check them out. The QR would still be available in the slides when we upload them. And adios. And I would like to pass on to Nabarun.
Okay, so we are really out of time. We wanted to talk to you next about how can you get involved with us in SIG ContribEx, but I'll speed run through those. Essentially, if you know either Bash, Go, Python, and you really love to do automation, and you want to automate things, you want to make things more scriptable, there is a lot of work for you. People who know Go have a lot of opportunities in the Kubernetes landscape across a lot of projects. But if you know Python or Bash, we also welcome you to come contribute to a few really hard problems that we have been having to sustain websites, to sustain our Slack infra. One of this work is we have almost 2 lakh users on our Slack instance, and out of those, hardly, I guess, 20K would be active. And we would want to automate pruning inactive users, and that requires a lot of work. This is purely greenfield work. We have not done any research on this, so if you love automation and you want to work on this, please feel free to reach out. Similarly, if you know Python and you also love to do front-end related stuff, we have our own election framework called Electo, through which we do elections in the Kubernetes community. There's a lot of scope of work there. It's very new project, but is used by not just Kubernetes, but a few other projects as well to do their elections. If you would like to do some JavaScript, HTML stuff, this is for you. So reach out. As I said, contributor side, we need people knowing Bash to do some automation. If you love program management, we have things for you. You can run our mentoring cohorts, help us help other SIGs onboard new maintainers, new contributors. And if you want to help us, where do you find us? We are on the Kubernetes Slack. You can join the Kubernetes Slack by going to slack.kts.io, and you can put your email and you'll get an invite. And when you join the Kubernetes Slack, you can join the SIG-ContribEx channel. That's the main channel for all the ContribEx activities. Then there are sub-channels depending on what work you want to do. And at the end, I would like to end with, even if you don't know what you want to do, but if you know your intent of why you want to contribute, do still come by the meetings, be a fly on the wall, listen to the conversations, see what is going on. Then you might figure out, based on your intent, what you can work on. Having said that, these are our Slack personas as well. Feel free to reach out to us, any one of us, or a bunch of us, even in the public SIG ContribEx channel, about anything that we have talked here. Having said that, thank you. We really don't have any time for question and answers because I think the next talk speakers are also here. But we will be in the hallway to talk to you all. We'll be just outside the room and happy to answer any questions you have. With that, thank you so much for attending KubeCon and our talk as well. See you later. Yeah, one more photo.
Please, please, because this is the
Before we
biggest
will
room
leave.
we have received
Yeah.
for SIG Contribex Maintainer Stack. Can we have a round of applause for all of you? Because this is like the biggest contribution you gave to SIG Contribex to spread this massive message. Thank you again.